especially her experience with the climate crisis there and how that ties to AI and women's empowerment and why it's all essential. So thank you, Farhana.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Farhana Hasan. Thank you so much, Amy, for that kind introduction. When I met Amy and John a few weeks ago at Georgia Tech in Atlanta, and when they talked about this amazing platform and what they're doing together, I was intrigued because what we were doing, this was going to be our logical, natural progression. We just fast forwarded it to today. And I am so excited to be a part of this. And when Amy spoke to us, it made all the sense why us working in the intersectionality of AI, data science, and gender equality, that would have an immediate effect on climate change and how we can converge everything together and make a beautiful thing happen. So thanks again. My team is here with me, and we do her will. So when we talked about it, so following Dr. McCarthy, my God, I cannot even pretend to talk about environment, nothing about the science. So what I'm going to do is share my story. Hopefully, that will make sense in talking about how the human impact that Dr. McCarthy mentioned actually is the root cause. Actually, the climate is the root cause of why third world countries, that we are no longer supposed to call them developing countries, are facing. The root cause of all of these things we're seeing. So I'm going to, actually, the presentation is just here for you to take a look at later, maybe if it's shared. I'm just going to go through this and talk about her will and what we do a little bit. So her will, the fact of the story is I would never be here and achieve the kind of things that Amy mentioned I have done, but never felt like achievement, had I not been in the United States. I'm here because I was privileged to be here in my teenage. And that privilege is not something I take for granted. Opportunities have been opened up to me that I could never have dreamed of. I could never have dreamed of in my entire life or my ancestors. So I tried to use up every little bit of it to be the best that I could be and achieve as much as I could, as fast as I could, as hard as I could. And so, while I did that and landed an amazing career and being lucky with a little bit of hard work, amazing career, I came to the workforce and saw, whoa, so the land of the free and this beautiful dreamland that I so cherish is not equal. So it's not just equal for women of color, just because I'm brown, it's not equal, but it's not equal for all women. And even though we are exposed to the best of the best projects and leading the best teams in the world and coming up with the best ideas, having the strategic vision and the execution prowess to do the best in the world, that I managed 23 airlines and I was the only woman in the board. It wasn't something to be proud of in 2020. So it was something that I thought that, if I had 5 more women with me, I could have done a better job. So for all women, we try to, at the workforce, when we entered the workforce, it's a 50-50, pretty much. We have, when I first started Delta, it was 50% male, as it was 50% women. But as we go up the ladder, the funnel gets thinner, and women keep dropping off. The leadership gets thinner. So at the C-suite, there is no one. And these discrepancies, these gaps, all together, in a nutshell, what I tried to do, the opportunities I got, the privileges that I was opened up to, and the gaps that I have seen, and the gaps that I've worked with, I tried to bridge that. And thus, I started my own organization, Her Will, the initiative that was not only going to create awareness of gender inequality, but find a specific solution for economic empowerment, because financial independence is key to equality, as we all know. And long story short, fast forward 3.5 years ago this happened, and now we're here. What are we doing? We are building not only a workforce, but the next generation of tech leaders. Next generation of tech leaders in data science and AI. So if you think about AI, anybody I pretend to know all about AI, I don't, but it's actually, at least what I know, is that it's been there since the dawn of technology revolution. The only thing that changed is the amount of data we're creating and the storage, the capacity of the data storage that we now have, the processing power we now have. So we are giving it different names, and now AI is the sexiest term in town, and we're loving it. So we are doing data science and AI. We have live workshops from global data experts. We have knowledge sharing datathons that global girls and women participate in, and we work with real-time data from universities across the world who give us data. Organizations give us in-kind donation, other kind of service spaces, and speakers and sponsors to make these things happen. And in the process, what we're doing is this model. So we educate, we acquire through our competition. Not only we educate through our workshops, we acquire them through the competitions, filter out the best talents. We incentivize them with prizes, cash prizes and scholarships, internship opportunities, engage them in jobs, internship programs, and retain them with domain knowledge. So me being the expert in revenue optimization has no meaning if I cannot put it in the terms of how an airline runs and how do we make money, how to optimize every single seat. So that's what we try to do and advance them through the leadership path with unconventional leadership trainings. So that brings me to, that's what Her Will was about. And that was the story of Her Will. Now we come to Bangladesh, one of the poorest in the world. Well, actually, it's on its way up to be doing much better. GDP growth right now is about 9%, unheard of. But why can't it do as good as its counterparts or as good as it should have been doing? Come to think of it, everything that we are facing comes down to one thing, that is climate issues. Bangladesh, unfortunately, because of geographic location, as Dr. McCarthy mentioned, these countries are geographically disadvantaged. So geographic location for the way that the other people's carbon emissions are affecting our country. Bangladesh right now is emitting only 0.57% of carbon dioxide, and what are the other countries doing? It's nothing in comparison to everybody else, but we are getting the biggest burn for everybody else's crime. So Dr. Salimul Haq, who we have tragically lost 3 weeks ago, was one of the world's top 10 climate experts and advocated for a fund called Loss and Damage Funds for the other countries to be able to pay for countries like Bangladesh. And as you can see, the Bangladesh is the 7th most high risk. Boys?
It's louder, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're great. Even louder.
by the end of this, I won't have a voice. But yeah, so Dr. Salimul Haq started this, and I was working with him on a separate project, and we lost him. That's tragic. Now, come to the multifaceted vulnerability that Bangladesh is facing. And I am going to give you a story again to show you how these things work and how we have to, how this has affected me from a very early age, and how I was going to work toward this, and I still do. So a few years ago, on one of our trips, yearly trips to Bangladesh, there was a woman and a child, an almost 10-year-old little girl, came to our house. Her name was Najma. One of the most angelic faces I've ever seen. But she came, and her mom said, "You need to employ her. You need to give her a job." And we were not going to have anything to do with child labor. So we said, "No. Why would she work? Let's give her some more opportunities." And her mom said, "You don't understand what she's going through. She's almost 10 years old. She was raped twice. And this is my life." Her mom's life was, her entire village was underwater. So they have they're always migrating. In the past 5 years of that incident, that day she came to our house, they had changed their house almost 10 times. That is every 6 months. They had to relocate. And now we call that adaptability, right? We are being adaptable. That is forced migration, right? And forced migration, they are changing their houses. So what happens during these changes? Your community is lost, your families are lost, and you don't have any protection. So these kids are completely unprotected, unsafe, and they are there on their own. And because they're in a coastal area, the water is salinated, and they are bathing, drinking, and washing in those waters. So what is happening is they have a plethora of illnesses that you couldn't even imagine. And you could see this mom and the daughter, how beautiful they would have been had they not had to face this. And they're not. There are so many issues that I can't even speak of. And the mom said her morning starts with going with a bunch of buckets and tanks, bottles, whatever she could find, take a boat to another village to gather up some fresh water for the family. And she would spend almost 8 hours trying to do that. She would bring that fresh water back home. She would cook with that fresh water. What is cooking? Who's doing the cooking? The dad died last year out of stroke. Who's doing the cooking? Where's the food coming from? Well, local NGOs tried to do something. They were trying to give first. She was a beekeeper. It didn't work out because of the climate. Bees were dying, and there was all of them. And then now she's doing crab farming. So because of the locality, the geographic, it worked. Okay, it worked a little bit, but she couldn't put all her attention into the business. So that was going down the pipe. So altogether, this vicious cycle, they weren't able to come out of, right? And so she has 4 children, 3 little boys and this daughter. Nobody even think of a daughter going to school or having an education. She was worried about these 3 little boys going to school. How are they going to get educated? Well, she has to be married off or shipped off to the city to go get a job. And she came to get a job with us. That was the first time ever I felt helpless. I am not the kind of person who feels helpless. I did that day. I said, because I don't live there. I did not have, my parents are aging, and I cannot, give that responsibility to them. So I I somehow managed. I said, we're gonna keep her and we're gonna make her better and homeschool her and everything else. Long story short, again, fast forward. A couple of weeks later, when we did some talk therapies, a lot of love and care to make her feel comfortable and all that. I keep telling her, you can take your scarf and everything off. This is a safe house. You don't have to cover yourself, and you can be free here. This is the first safe zone you can have, you've had in your little life. And she's so shy. She's so shy. And then she came up. She goes, okay. And then I saw the eczemas, the skin diseases she got from using that kind of water all her life, okay? And the GI problems that she now has to live with. And there started the journey of her medical treatment and all that to become big. Fast forward 4 years later, because her mom almost married her at age 10, we kind of put it off till she was 14, 15. And mom wouldn't let us keep her anymore. And she married her off at 14. She had eclampsia when she was giving birth. She had a child who had congenital defects, and the child is now 10 years old. She still has, she's almost completely bedridden. And the mom did not get any education. She's one of the brightest students I've ever found, my dad ever has found, and the tutors who taught her in our home found. And she takes care of the daughter, the husband, and sometimes gives medicines to my parents. That's her fate. That's the cycle of everything Dr. McCarthy has listed. The human impact. What happened here? Coastal erosion. What happened here? Erratic weather behavior, climate changes. And what happened was a total loss of human value. You were there for nothing but survival. Now, how does AI come in? I'm gonna make it shorter. AI comes in. Well, AI is an interesting dichotomy, as I said. AI, as much promises as it has, it is one of the biggest contributors to CO2 emission, right? So because an AI model emits about 600,000 pounds of carbon, which is equivalent to 62 cars going on a year, being driven for 12 months. So as AI is going to solve all of our problems with with all of this amazing technology, with all of the models we have, it is in and of itself, it's serving up the problem. It's triggering the issue. So that is where we come in and come up with solutions, platforms like Phoenix, and other things that we're building in collaboration with University of Chicago and hopefully with MIT and now with Georgia Tech, that those solutions are going to give us a way to balance those things and to give us understanding of how we can coexist. So now AI and her will, how does her will come into this whole picture? So her will's datathon, we need data, we run two datathons a year, and as many climate data you can give us, the better we're going to be able to solve problems with our global cohorts. And on that platform, they're going to be able to solve real world problems, and that'll be not the perfect solutions, but also will give you the diverse perspectives from all corners of the world. how can we can aid you with the collaboration, with the massive network of people that we've connected with, the organizations that are coming and helping us, and we're helping them, we can make those things happen. And innovation, of course, the technology and innovation together. Google is already doing great work in Bangladesh in the river flooding forecast, in collaboration with the government, with the big NGOs and other public and private organizations. And that is the only way, as John mentioned in his presentation, that is why we're all here, as Dr. McCarthy did, as Amy did. We all are here just to collaborate. That's the only solution we can have. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.